Joe Burrow breaks Peyton Manning's passing yardage record this season and throws for 5,500 passing yards. How do we feel about that?
I'll take a shot. I'm on board. I think this team is going to have to pass similarly to how they were last year. And the one thing that's a little bit different is now that T. Higgins actually has a contract, he might actually play every game.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm Kyle, joined by my brother Keenan, joined by Timmy and Brandon, honorary Warner Brothas. It's AFC North time. I'm very much looking forward to discussing this division. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right.
Let's say last but not least.
Let's
go.
Tim, who you got?
Go.
I've got the Cleveland Browns. Worst team in this division. I don't think that's crazy, but
Tim,
here's
what
what
are
I
you giving
got.
away, man? Come on.
Yeah, just come on.
Come on, man.
Speak for yourself, Timmy.
Ruining the pod, bro.
Speak for yourself.
I'll probably have to give you a little bit of info on this one, but
Okay.
my statement is the Cleveland Browns will not win a game until week 13.
They do have a tough schedule.
If you want me to read it, I can read it.
Go ahead.
Read the schedule.
All right, they start with the Bengals, then they got the Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Steelers, Dolphins, this is the question mark, Patriots, Jets, Ravens, Raiders, 49ers, Titans, Bears, Bills, Steelers, Bengals again. The 13 week is against the the Titans, sorry. My only theory here is that 6 weeks in, maybe they make a QB switch, and that first week against the Dolphins then becomes a losable game. So does the Patriots game. So does the Jets game, pushing it all the way down to week 13 against the Titans that they win.
I'm going to take a light sip. It's not going to be... I think that by that point, they could win a game. I think there's probably 5 games I would circle that they possibly could win before the 49ers week 13, which would be, or their 13th game would technically be the Tennessee Titans because they have a bye. But their Cincy game to start off, because we know Cincy against the division's a little tougher, and obviously it's week 1 for Cincinnati. Hopefully they get to a better start now that Joe Burrow played in the preseason, but that's still a game that could be iffy. Then I would circle the Steelers with a division game, that Dolphins, Patriots, and then the Jets and Raiders. But like within there, I think they'll probably win maybe 1 or 2, but they could. So I'm going to take a light sip.
I'm going to go to the bathroom on this. If you would have said like their first half of the season, first 8-9 games, I might have been with it. 13, they're a little too talented for that. It's pretty popular to shit on the Browns. No pun intended there. But but I mean, how quick we forget. Their starting QB the last couple of years has been Deshaun Watson, who's been just as bad as like whoever they're throwing out there. Maybe Kenny Pickett aside, who I think they just traded again. They traded him away. So Deshaun's been bad, and they were competing with him as their QB, excuse me. So, I mean, whether it's Flacco, whether it's Shedeur, there's still a lot on defense here. They still got pieces on offense. They still got a good offensive line. I wouldn't be shocked if this team is in the 7-win range. I wouldn't be shocked. They're not going to be a playoff team, obviously, but, I wouldn't be shocked if they're a middle-of-the-pack team. So I'm going to the bathroom on that.
Yeah, I'm joining Kyle on that. I think they have too much talent on defense. I also kind of honestly think that their offense could be like sneaky good. When I say sneaky good, like not end up dead last in every statistical category, because like I do think like Joe Flacco plays majority of the year, and like yes, Joe Flacco checks down a lot, but like you're gonna have Jerry Jeudy with the ball after the catch, like David Njoku, like that sort of stuff. Like I think their defense mainly though can keep them in the games as long as they're healthy. So I definitely like I don't foresee there's a way that happens.
And they've got an upper tier head coach in Kevin Stefanski too. Like he's gonna scheme his way to some wins.
I am also going to go to the bathroom on this take. I don't believe it. I think the defense is too good. We've seen it before where the Browns at home, great defense with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, beat the 49ers in their big 13-win season. So I could definitely see a game like that where, especially the divisional games, like it wouldn't surprise me if this team is one of the teams that catches the Lions off guard and it's just a defensive slugfest, but they win at 16-13 or something like that. So I don't believe it. Not super high on the offense. I am out on Joe Flacco. I don't think he has it left in him. And I do think that they will switch quarterbacks at some point this year. They might even switch twice. They might give Gabriel and Shedeur a shot. So 13 is definitely way too far for me to agree. But like Kyle, if I'd said week 8, maybe I'd be in.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree with that. That's where my light sip comes in, just in case like this whole media circus dumpster fire, we get Shedeur in there and it's just like everything just goes wrong and things just like go down south for them. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll quickly just say it. I have them at 4-13. I have them worse in the division, but Kyle, I think their peak to me is 7 wins. I think their floor is about 3. I think they could get within there. They'll make some games tough for people. It just all depends on how many games Flacco plays, how many Gabriel plays, how many Shedeur plays. How can people stay healthy?
Yeah, I got them at 6-11. Depending on how you feel about Shedeur, though, like if this was really collusion and Shedeur should have gone, let's say 3 rounds earlier, if he really is an NFL starting level quarterback, who knows? Who knows? Because I mean, we just said it about Kevin O'Connell. We've seen it with Kevin Stefanski too. We saw it the year with Flacco 2 years ago. It was Deshaun, it was Flacco, DTR, like Tim said. I believe there was another starter mixed in there too. Like he's shown he can do it with a variety of quarterbacks. I'm not confident in the quarterbacks he has. Maybe he can return some magic with Flacco. Who the hell knows at this point? I never would have guessed ever in my life that we would have been talking about Joe Flacco starting quarterback in 2025. But, here we are. So 6-11, but there is some sort of world where they're scary. Brandon, I actually have a question for you before you answer. All right, maybe we can table this for after. I'll table it for after we answer about the Browns and the record.
Okay. So I actually have them at 6-11 as well too. Mainly because of their defense. I think if they're not healthy on the defensive end, then I do think they could go like 3-14. Like I think that's definitely a possibility. I'm assuming that they're going to be healthy all year long, though, for the most part, like they're top tier players. I think that Division 2 is going to be difficult, and it's always difficult to play Cleveland come late November, December.
Yeah, there's just Myles Garrett's just too much of a problem in life. He's just annoying to have to deal with every week.
So I think their defense alone, especially once it gets cold and once it starts snowing, I think their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. I do like their young talent too. So if one of those guys, especially a quarterback, if somebody can really step up and maybe like take over, I think it's going to be probably Gabriel or Shedeur. I don't know which one, but if one of them can step up and man the reins for the rest of the season, I think they'll have a good shot.
I've got them 5-12. At the worst, I see this being a 3 or 4 win team. At the best, I see it being a 7-win team. I got them in the middle, 5-12. Their draft confused the hell out of me. First, they take 2 quarterbacks, then they take 2 running backs. Like, which one is going to play in either position? Now we're kind of getting optimistic reports from Judkins potentially not getting suspended. I do think he will be suspended, similar to how, Roethlisberger was suspended even though his case was dropped. I believe Zeke's case was dropped and he got suspended still. So I think it is likely that we still see like a 6-game suspension. It just, he hasn't signed yet, so we really don't know. But if he does come back, I think it is his job at the running back position. I think he is the most talented on this on this team. But Sampson is also a very good running back too, so it could work out either way. But 5-12, not a lot of offensive output, even with a good head coach.
As long as Samson can hold onto the ball. Oh, just dropping pencils. As long as Samson could hold onto the ball. He had a little bit of a fumble problem last year at Tennessee throughout the year, but otherwise, Samson he's definitely a good runner, good physical guy. Kyle, what was the question you had for Brandon?
Yeah, so my question, Shedeur, this is probably the most media attention we've had for a backup QB since Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow obviously was a Gator, the most famous Gator, arguably. What was your opinion on him coming out? Like when people were arguing if he's a starting quarterback or not?
I thought that, like, I didn't think he should have went in the 5th round. I don't think he was a first round pick, but like I would have taken him day 2, like late 2nd round, early 3rd round. Like I think he's got some traits. I think if you can deal with like the whole, and when I say off the field, it's not like he's bad off the field, like just the media attention.
Wait, no. I'm saying, what did you think of Tim Tebow when he was coming out back in the day?
Oh, you're talking about Tim? You're talking about Tim Tebow?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He's a gamer. He's a baller. He's a playmaker.
I mean, obviously, I thought he was a stud, but like, and I have that Gator bias, but like Tim Tebow coming out, I really didn't think that he was I didn't think he was a day 2 pick, like either. Like I think in terms of like a pure quarterback, because I thought his throwing mechanics were so wonky. Like that left-handed windup and just the way that he released the ball, like I was like, yeah, I had a hard time seeing him having like a long NFL career.
Do you think he was a project QB?
I thought he was. Like I thought if somebody could get him into like the right system and keep him on the bench for 2 or 3 years, like, and really, I think the biggest thing was his throwing mechanic and just like his feet, his footwork, stuff like that. Like I think if they could have hammered that down for about 2 seasons, like I think he could have been good. I thought he was.
If you got a Jordan Love kind of situation where he got to sit just for a few years and just basically said, hey, you've got raw talent. We're going to just take all of your mechanics and we're just going to make them better.
Yeah, like honestly, like let's go alternate timeline here. I think if he would have sat behind Peyton whenever Peyton was in Denver, I think that would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of Brock Osweiler, I think that maybe would have ended a little bit differently. And I think too, once he had a problem sticking to teams, and I think that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tebow Mania was wild. I think that was probably 12 years ago now.
Yeah, because the playoff game was 2010 with the Demaryius Thomas 80-yarder against the Steelers.
So 15 years.
We had some manias around in the early to mid 2010s because we had Lynn Sanity was another mania.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we had some good thing. Even Steve Novak had a little thing around him too. Not obviously like Lynn Sanity, but like Steve Novak.
Tebow Mania was wild because he just kept winning in the most bizarre ways. I think they went like 6 straight that year.
Yeah, because they had to sneak into the playoffs, and my God, Tebow Mania was insane.
He had that game against the Chiefs where he only completed 2 passes, and one of them was like for a game-winning touchdown, like a game.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were in the 4 because the whole thing, obviously, because Skip Bayless was driving that media train behind Tim Tebow, and the whole thing he brought was like, hey, for 45 minutes he might not have been the guy, but for those last 15 minutes. He was one of them.
It's probably true.
50, and he was kind of one of them for that last 15. So shout out to Tim Tebow. But are we good on the Cleveland Browns?
I think so.
All right. We'll move on. I've got the Baltimore Ravens, obviously one of the best teams in the league, been perpetually one of the best teams in the league here over the last ever. I mean, for my honestly lifetime as a football fan, the Ravens have been one of the better teams in the league. They just went from the Ray Lewis days now into the Lamar Jackson days. But so Lamar Jackson, we talked about a little bit on the on the quarterback tiers that we did. And this is a very simple question about him. A Super Bowl win makes Lamar Jackson the best quarterback in the league. Like kind of like a universally like best quarterback in the league. Kind
of. I'll answer just because we had this conversation the other day. You, Tim, and I, with the QB tiers. I think he has a valid argument already to be the best QB in the league. I think he has a valid argument if you don't think he's the best QB in the league right now. But yeah, I mean, if him or Josh Allen win it this year, you can easily cement them. Minus Pat Mahomes having a friggin' old school Patrick Mahomes season. But if it continues this trend where Pat Mahomes is decent and then Lamar and Josh Allen are for sure outplaying him the way I believe they've been for the last 2 seasons, one of them come out on top, yeah, you got to give it to them. You got to give them the crown. So 2 shots of that.
Yeah, I'll take a shot at that as well too. I do think that if Lamar comes out, wins MVP, and wins a Super Bowl, then like I really don't think there's really too much of a discussion there. Likewise with Josh Allen too, since Kyle brought up Josh Allen. I think if that happens, either way, if that happens for Lamar, Josh, whatever, then I do think that like you got to put him up there, especially if Pat has a down year. Now Pat comes out and throws for 40 plus touchdowns and 5,000 yards again, then I think that conversation's a little bit different. But I will take a shot at that.
I'll get tipsy off this. I'll take 3 or 4 shots. I think, like Kyle said, he's got the argument to be the best quarterback in the league right now. So you give him a Super Bowl, that just cements him. If not, most people would say he's at least tied for the best QB in the league, and it's a 3-way tie or a 2-way tie, whatever way you want to look at it. So he's definitely it. He wins another MVP. I think that's enough to say he's the best QB in the league too. So
I think if he wins a Super Bowl, he's a Hall of Fame. I think that's sort of kind of.
I think
he's.
Yeah. I think like if you were to retire today, he'd be like kind of borderline. Like obviously the 2 MVPs. I think he's probably in. People would try to make probably the playoff argument against him. That's why I kind of think it could be a little bit borderline. But I think if he was to win a Super Bowl, he could retire that after the Super Bowl. Just say I'm hanging him up, and then he'd be first ballot. So, I'm taking a shot at this as well. I think that with Josh Allen and with Lamar Jackson, barring a Patrick Mahomes 2019, 2020-ish style season, or 2018, 2019 stylish season, I think that pretty much whoever out of those two, and even slightly Joe Burrow too, if Joe Burrow was to go out there, win MVP, and then go win a Super Bowl, especially with Mahomes not winning it last year, playing very bad in the Super Bowl itself, statistically not being one of those top 3 guys over the last couple years, and then now pushing it into he has another year where it's 30 touchdowns, 8 picks, 4,000 yards. Good season, of course, because Mahomes is going to put up good numbers, but not great. But then one of these 3 guys, especially if it's a Lamar question, goes out there, wins MVP, or doesn't even win MVP, and beats Mahomes in the playoffs and wins. I think that you have to give it to him. Ravens, I got them 12-5. I got them winning the division. I think that they've been the class of the AFC North for a little bit of time here now, and I think they're going to continue to be that. Will they have competition? Of course, but when the Bengals just haven't made enough real roster changes defensively to where I feel like they will compete truly for the division, like be able to take it from them. So I got the Ravens 12-5 winning the division.
I've got them at 13-4, also winning the division. It's the same team from the last 2-3 years. They're going to be competitive in every single game. They can beat any team in the league. They'll probably drop a couple of divisional games like they do, but 13-4 is good enough. So,
yeah, I also have the Ravens winning the division. I have them at 12-5. I'm just going to go 13-4, but I think if I'm having a couple of really competitive games on the schedule, I wouldn't be surprised if this team goes 14-3. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they win 15 games. I think their defense is going to be back to a top 3, maybe a top 5 unit this season. I love all the offseason additions. I think our offense is going to be sneaky good. I think Mark Andrews going back to a featured role with Isaiah Likely out. I think Zay Flowers takes that step forward. I like D-Hop as a third receiver. You can do a hell of a lot worse than DeAndre Hopkins as your third receiver. And I like Rashad Bateman as well, too. I think if all those guys stay healthy, Derrick Henry stay healthy as well, too. I like keeping Mitchell out of the backfield as a change of pace guy. I actually think he takes that role from Justice Hill this season.
I think he would have last year if he wasn't hurt. I think he was the way he was running when he first got into the league. I think he would have really solidified himself as a number 2 behind Henry if he didn't get injured.
Yeah, I think he is a weapon, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays on a lot of snaps this season. So I have them at 12-5, but I certainly think there's room for way more.
I'm right there with you, man. I was shocked at how
this is Kyle's favorite team in the league.
I wouldn't say that.
You love the Ravens. That's why I'm just.
Well, I thought
you always have to.
Honestly, last year, I thought they were the best team in the league that I saw, top to bottom. And hard not to make that argument for them this year as well. I thought their defense started out rough last year. I think they even started out 8-5 last year. Then their defense caught on and they just started clicking. So you add Jair Alexander to that. And again, I think I said this at the beginning. I was shocked at how easy their schedule is, given their division, given that they had a first place schedule. I think they're pretty favorable. I've got them at 12-5 as well. But like Brandon said, I could see them being a 14-win team, 13-win team, maybe even 15 if Lamar's really that dude. Yeah, man, it's going to be scary. I actually, just for the record, because I did pick Baltimore to win on Sunday night against Buffalo, and I had Buffalo, at I think 12-5 as well. So I want to bump Buffalo up to 13-4, because otherwise I'd give Baltimore the tiebreaker, because I do have Buffalo as my 1 seed. I might have had them at 13-4, but in case I didn't,
just get it on record. I got
let
you.
me look just to make sure. Maybe I had the Ravens at 13-4, and that's why that 13-4. That's why.
You
So
had Buffalo.
you had them at you had the Bills at 13-4.
so I got the Ravens at 13-4, bumped the Bills up to 14-3.
14-3. So you want the Ravens 13-4, Bills 14-3?
Indeed.
Let the record show.
Let the
Kyle
record
has
show.
changed.
Let the record show. Keen, I have a Uno reverse question for you though, off this
Okay.
Lamar Jackson question. Baker Mayfield, you have him as MVP.
Yep.
Even if the Bucs don't get to or if they get to the Super Bowl, they don't got to necessarily win. Where would he then rank for you?
Would depend on what Jalen Hurts does. It would be jostling for the 5. So like if he was, because I mean, right now I have him 7. I have him behind Jaden Daniels, and I have him behind Jalen Hurts. We haven't talked about our playoffs yet, so I'm not going to get into my playoffs yet. But if Jaden Daniels I have out of the playoffs already, so I think you would eclipse him already. If Jalen Hurts was to go and win another Super Bowl, I think you can't take him out of that, even with Baker winning MVP, especially if Jalen does the things that he's supposed to do in that run. But say the Bucs meet the Eagles in the playoffs, and they were able to get by him or something like that, I think that 5th spot would be up for grabs.
Go ahead. Sorry, my fault. Keep going.
No, that was my last sentence. I was going to say, I think that top 5 is in line for Baker.
I'm kind of shocked. I didn't think of this at the time. I'm kind of shocked you have him behind Jaden Daniels with Baker winning MVP as your choice.
Preseason, how I have it now. Like that's kind of by the end of the season, how I would have it. I would have him ahead.
What
But
about you're saying head up right now? You think Jaden Daniels is better? Just head up.
I think that from what he was able to do last year, they did play head to head. He did get him in the playoff game. I think the way Jaden was able to command that whole entire Commanders team, a team that none of us really thought was going to be able to even make the playoffs. He was able to take them to the NFC Championship game, go into Detroit and win, beat the Bucs in Tampa. I think that Jaden Daniels deserves the edge right now. But I think if you were to give me the argument for Baker, I mean, I have him 6 and 7, so it's not like I could be like, there's no way he could move up 1 spot. So I get the argument. 41 touchdowns last year, has been having command over a Bucs team that no one really thought was going to actually be a perennial division winner from when Tom Brady left. Because people I had him 5-12, I think, the year after Tom left, and let alone they were 9-8, and then last year 10-7, competing with every team they've played with in the playoffs in a tough way. So I get it on both ends. I'm leaning Jaden Daniels right now, but if you said Baker, I got it. Get you.
Yeah, because I honestly, like, after looking at it, almost kind of like Baker in that 5 spot instead of Hurts. Like, it's hard for me to believe that Hurts is a better QB than Baker. Like, almost based off consistency after the last 3 years, I think I'd have Baker moved up, which I didn't feel that way the other day. I understand why you have Hurts there. But now looking at it and thinking about it, and just thinking about the last 3 seasons combined, I kind of wouldn't mind Baker at that 5 spot.
That after the 4, you're Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, no order on that. After that 4, the 5 spot is really up for grabs, which is kind of where the tier, like that's where the QB tiers was kind of the conversation, because you have Hurts, you have Daniels. Some people still have Matthew Stafford regarded there. All the GMs, like there was an executive poll, and they had Matthew Stafford as that 5th guy. Obviously, what if Jared Goff got to a Super Bowl, won it this year? Like, even without Ben Johnson, like people like that 5th spot is one that's kind of a carousel right now where you could put many people. Justin Herbert gets to an AFC Championship game and really looks like he takes the next step. And hey, we've seen quarterbacks rise. What if Trevor Lawrence is to go 13-4 and get to there's so many quarterbacks. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen personally, but there's just so many players at that 5 that could actually take that spot. That 5th spot is not solidified. I think the top 4 to me are. So
give me Bryce Young.
Hey, listen, Bryce Young goes 12-5 and gets to an NFC Championship game. You might have me saying it. Listen, Jaden Daniels took him 1 year to be in the conversation. NFL, it doesn't take long to be in that top 5-ish conversation. So, yeah, interesting. But if that's it, we all have the Ravens winning the division. Not really a shock to anybody. We already have the Browns, and then now we're on to Brandon, who has the Bengals.
Yes, the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm going to go with something that I actually kind of was thinking of today that I just randomly thought of. Put a lot of thought into it once it popped up in my head, and it pertains to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow breaks Peyton Manning's passing yardage record this season and throws for 5,500 passing yards. How do we feel about that?
Taking a sip, because here's the thing again. Last year, he had to have a phenomenal season for the Bengals to be within playoff contention. And I think it'd be the same thing this year. It's not like they've really gotten much better on the defensive side of the football. They've got a new coordinator. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, they couldn't even line up things with a rookie early. Their first round pick early. It had to be a fight to even get him signed. So Trey Hendrickson should be playing like he has to earn himself a contract again because he is on a 1-year deal. But so I wasn't worried about him regardless. But I think it's definitely a sip because it's on the board, because I think that they're going to be in 31-28 quite often, and Burrow's going to let that thing go. So I take a sip of it.
I'll take a shot. I'm on board. I think this team is going to have to pass similarly to how they were last year. And the one thing that's a little bit different is now that T. Higgins actually has a contract, he might actually play every game. His contract is super game check dependent. That's kind of how they worded it, so that he can play every game. And that helps him a lot. And like I've said in other pods, I think that this team is going to start rolling early. They're not going to actually take 3-4 weeks to get going. And that right there, he finished with 4,900 yards last year. Add in another 50 yards per game right there, and he's already above 5,000 into the 5,200 category. So I think he could definitely do it. He's got the receivers to do it. Yeah, I'll take a shot. Why not?
Why not? Hand it to me. Sure.
Let me get that bad boy.
Give me that.
I'll take a sip. With the 17-game schedule now, you kind of got to take all records into consideration. Like Keenan said, they've got the defense for it. This defense is either the same or worse.
That's funny to think that he has the defense to break an offensive record. That's just kind of weird to say it like that, but you're right. That's exactly what he has. It's the defense to break a record. Yeah,
they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. That's going to be their focus. And, especially if the games are close, if it's going to be just shootouts back and forth, and he is ripe for at least contending for this record. And again, 17 games, why not? So heavy sip, not a shot, but a heavy sip.
Before you go, Brandon, real quick, I just wanted to say if he plays at the same pace he played from week 9 on, which is when he played against the Raiders, he'll throw for over 5,500. Literally just the same pace as he did last year from week 9 on. So I just wanted to say that. Go on.
Yeah, I'm taking a strong sip, just because that is a lofty number. I think he has a hell of a chance to break it. I think the defense will actually be a little bit improved this season, and that's not saying much because they were freaking god-awful last season. I think they'll be good enough to get a couple of stops here and there.
That's all they need. All they need a 16th ranked defense is really all they are asking for.
I'm thinking the defense is probably in the 18 to 25 range. There's a lot of young talent, but I think if you get a healthy season from Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, I I also like Jermaine Burton too as a third receiver, or Andre Yoshivas. I think if all the receivers are healthy, I like it. And then I like the tight end room too. I like Gesicki and Noah Fant. That's a sneaky good tight end room. It really depends on the offensive line, but I mean, I could definitely see it happening if he's coming out and slinging it for 300, 350 yards every single game. Would not be surprised if he ended up with like 56, 5,700 yards.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just gonna quickly go because there was a little silence. I have the Bengals at 11-6 in making the playoffs as a wild card. I think that there was multiple games last year that it came down to the end that they just lost. Both Ravens games. If McPherson doesn't miss a field goal there in the playoffs, obviously that Chargers game that they couldn't at the end of the game. It was who wants to take the game, and there's so many games towards the end of the season or even the midseason where it was like right there for them, but they didn't really get blown out all that much last season. Their offense didn't really allow them to get blown out. So I got them 11-6. I think they're going to improve a little bit. Defense is not going to be the worst of all time. I think they're going to be a little bit better than worst of all time. Not great, but a little bit better than worst of all time, and that's going to be enough for this team to get a couple more wins, get to the playoffs.
I have them 10-7, just barely making the playoffs. I pretty much think we get a similar season to last year, but just win that Patriots game at the beginning of the season, and they're a playoff team. So that's what I got. I think they just barely squeak in. Again, what Keenan said, defense will be bad, offense will be good enough.
Yeah, I actually have this team at 9-8, and I hated their offseason. There's a lot I do not like about this team.
Missing the playoffs?
Just out
of curiosity?
Missing the playoffs.
Very on the board.
Said worst defense of all time. They faced a slew of backup QBs last year to be the worst defense of all time. On top of that, if it's starting QBs, that's one thing. But the fact that it was backup QBs and this defense didn't really do a ton to get better other than hire DC. What they should have done, we all agree this is like the generation of wide receivers, young wide receivers coming into the draft. Why not let Higgins go? Go get a new wide receiver who's probably going to do 85% of what Higgins does and then spread the wealth on defense. The fact that they didn't do that, and the fact that the Browns are the Browns, but like they're competitive enough. I think the Steelers would be competitive enough. We just said what we thought about the Ravens. I don't know, man. I have a hard time seeing this team be a contender or even a playoff team. That being said, Keen, you're right. If they can get to even close to average, we got a Super Bowl contender right here. I just have a hard time believing it's going to be much different on defense. The offensive line isn't much better. And then their preseason, the fact that they played preseason, it's good in theory, but it also kind of reeks of desperation to me. So I just didn't like anything that had to do with their offseason because they could have killed it. I think as simple as letting T. Higgins go, and then, or maybe even getting a more team-friendly deal, even though this one's a very weird deal. I don't even know what to call this deal. But if they would have spread the wealth on defense, you're talking about an easy Super Bowl contender right here. And they just didn't do that. They went in on T. Higgins. They went in really on three players in Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. And you're going to pray that this defense improves. You better hope this defense improves because it really, I think I said this the other day, wasn't even that good under Lou Anarumo consistently. They played the Chiefs really well, but most teams are pretty average.
They played when they needed to play well in the playoffs. That was when the defense played well, but otherwise they were kind of up and down there. The reason why the Bengals are in this position this year is because they don't know how to operate 3 years ago. I mean, obviously, we've known how cheap of an organization. You should have seen we signed Jesse Bates, T. Higgins. You know you're going to have the T. Higgins, Jamar Chase conversation here coming up in the future. You sign Jamar Chase the day his rookie extension, like you're able to extend him. You just sign him that day. Just say, hey, here's your number, write it in. And he would be looking like a cheap contract right now. And then you trade T. Higgins, and you could have traded him for a first-round pick or traded him for something else early on when he had a lot of value. And then now this team has Jamar Chase, a secondary receiver that would have already been good, Yossi Bosch, Joe Burrow, and then defensive pieces. But, hindsight's 2020, but when you think it at the time, it kind of makes sense. I don't know. But, Brandon, you go on with what you think about the Bengals.
So I actually have them at 11-6 with you, Keenan. I have them in the playoffs. as crazy as it sounds, I like some of the young talent they have on defense. Kenneth Grant,
You got to
or
if
not
you
Kenneth
think they're
Grant,
good.
Chris Jenkins, Shamar Stewart, Miles Murphy. Like, these are guys that have high draft capital. Even some of the guys in the defensive back room, like Dax Hill was a first-round pick out of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Turner was a second-round draft choice. Cam Taylor-Britt, I believe, was a second or third-round draft choice. Like, I think sometimes all it is a scheme change. Like, sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes it's as simple as getting a new coach in, whether it's a positional or coordinator. Like I said, I don't think their defense is going to be night and day different. I think it's going to be an 18 to 25 unit. Like, I think they'll be good enough to get stops whenever they need to get stops. I think the offense is really what just drives them all year long. Like, I think they have on paper the best offense in football. I think you have the best 1-2 duo at receiver. I think Chase Brown is a super underrated running back. I love Chase Brown. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a 1,500-yard guy, 1,000 rusher, 500 receiver. Like I said, I like their tight end group. I like their receiver depth. I have them as a playoff team. I'm excited actually to see what they can do this season. I think if Cincinnati had a top 10 defense, I think they'd be the best team in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. If they had themselves even if they had like the Patriots defense on this team, you'd be like, oh, okay. Like they just had like just a sound group of players that's not going to fold under pressure kind of thing. You'd be like, oh, okay, now we're rolling. But yeah. No, I'm in the same boat as you, Brandon. I got him 11-6, but again, Kyle, I don't think you're wrong. Because like I think the 11 and the difference between 8 and 9 in 11-6 for the Bengals is going to be like this.
They've got a lot of variance. They've got a tough division and a tough schedule, and I forgot to add, like McPherson, like he had a rough year last year after being pretty automatic early on in his career. So I mean, if he's a question mark at all, that's already gonna possibly lose you games.
They better, and they have Cleveland, then they have Jacksonville, they have Minnesota. And then Denver, Detroit, Green Bay. Like, you've probably got to be 3.
No joke. That's no joke.
You've got to be 3-3 coming out of that, most likely. And then obviously you've got Pittsburgh, because you got to be 3-3 to that. And then for their sake, Pittsburgh, New York, and Chicago, like a good season's looking for them. 5-4 at the worst. I mean, they could probably make it out of 4-5 because they do play better the second half of the season, but you're going to want to hopefully be 5-4, if not 6-3 going into that week 10 bye. Going to be tough to see because then afterwards you do see the Ravens twice. Oh my God, they have a Buffalo Ravens stretch.
They
got, and then one of those is on Thanksgiving at 8:30 p.m., which the football god said, "Hey, here you go. Here's a Thanksgiving
Happy Turkey Day.
Happy Turkey." And you have the Chiefs against the Cowboys. We have the Chiefs on Thanksgiving that year, and then you've got Green Bay and Detroit at golly. They said, "Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you guys."
We've got some beautiful slates. But
yeah,
we just talked about like the top 3, top 4 QBs. Like it's a consensus on who they are, however you have them ranked, whatever. But the Bengals got to be playing at a Ravens, Bills, Chiefs type of level if they want to be the team that you guys say they are, you know? So that defense has got to bring it. The offensive line's got to bring it. I cannot wait to see this team. Like, despite me being a little bit on the negative side, they're one of the teams I cannot wait to watch this year.
The Packers and the Bengals right now, other than the Patriots, are like the 2 teams that I'm like keying in on the most because I'm interested to see if the Packers can take that next step and if the Bengals can kind of take a little bit of that next step too. Because like teams like the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills, like you kind of know what they're going to be. And then there are some of these other teams like the Commanders and the Texans, I think are 2 other interesting teams. Like how can you really develop as a program there? But last but not least, we got Kyle and we got the Steelers.
Yeah, it's a simple statement. The Mike Tomlin streak will never die. Shot, sipper,
I'm
pitch.
going to the bathroom. If you're saying never die, meaning like he's going to get over 5?
It's not literal, but I'm saying like, you know.
No. I meant for this year. Like you just mean like never die. Like he's going to, I'll leave the building. I don't need to be in the building. I don't need to go home. Like they cannot do it, but I'll leave the building. I don't need it. taking an elongated cigarette break where I see someone outside. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? Hey, long time no see, man. Oh, you mind if I bum a smoke from you? Yeah, I think that this team, I think this is absolutely a chance that this team just doesn't do it. I think that obviously I said the Aaron Rodgers is kind of low risk, high reward for them. Was kind of where the tier I had them in there. I just think that they're at a point now where it's like, okay, they're either going to be bad, like on the worst side, or they're going to be 10-7, 11-6, and actually be a team that we think, ooh, they could actually be interesting this year in the playoff circuit. But yeah, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
What's the record?
Oh, you want me to give it now? I have them at 7-10.
So wouldn't that be a sip in theory?
No, I mean, I have them at 7. I mean, I have them at 7-10. That's 3 games under 500.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, two games basically, right? Because you just need 2.
I mean, if they were to win 2 more, then I mean, but
I'm
there's
just
3
trying to be
games
a
under
lawyer.
500, but they need to be.
I'm just
2,
trying to be a lawyer here. That's all.
But no, I mean, that's why I'm not leaving the building thinking they're 5-12 or something like that. I'm just standing outside and I see one of my guys out there, so I have an elongated smoke break. That's it.
Yeah, I'm running across the street grabbing a slice of pizza, but I'm coming back to the porch to enjoy the rest of my drink that I'm giving to Keenan while he's taking his smoke break. And
Hey,
hey man, I'll be back in 5. All right,
bro, I'm starving, bro. Can you just watch this real quick?
You want a slice? I got you. Yeah, I just like as great as the defense is, like they have a lack of talent on their offense. Like, I think they're going to be a good running team, but I really do question, like, first off, I question how much those Ravens have left in the tank. Like, yeah, he looked decent for the Jets last season. Like, if you're watching box scores, like, he had a decent box score. I mean, he could just fall off. Like, he's at that age where he could just come out next year and just put up, or this year and just put up a stinker. The running back room, I think it's decent. Like Jalen Warren's your starter. Like that's cool. I don't know if Caleb Johnson's going to be a player in this backfield. We don't really know at this point. Like Kenneth Gainwell's their backup. Like that's kind of, I think the running back room is probably worse than what it was last season. With Najee Harris gone. On offense, it's just DK Metcalf. Like they're taking a big risk with Roman Wilson, hoping he pans out. I just don't think. I think this is the one year where the experiment just doesn't work out.
I think it's also good if it doesn't work out. I think at some point you want to reset things. But go on, Timmy.
I'm going to take a shot, even though I hate the Steelers. I think they will never have a losing record with Tomlin there. I would say it's more likely that they go 8-1 than 7-9 or whatever. So like they're not going to go under 500. I don't mind this offense.
They tied their last game of the season just so that
yeah, they're in like 4 overtime and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Just call the game. We're tied.
Call it off. Call it off.
Just call
it's
it.
2 in the morning. Please. Just
White flag.
Just call it. Guys, I want to keep the streak. Just can we call it?
I actually don't mind this offense. As much as I hate Jonnu Smith, he was pretty solid last year and they're going to use him. The defense will be good. That's enough for Tomlin to get 8-9 wins. So,
and they have a better OC than Arthur. So,
unfortunately, they don't because they have Arthur Smith as their OC.
Just kidding. Sorry, not Arthur.
So,
who is it? Sorry,
Canada.
OC that they
Canada.
Canada. There we go. No, I knew they had Arthur. That was backwards in my head.
Yeah.
No, Arthur is fine. Matt Canada though, that was Timmy's. I hate him in life.
Yeah,
he may as well have been Canadian coming over to the NFL.
Yeah,
Timmy has one guy here that he just walks in on.
Canada. Get him out of his country.
We should.
Got one guy a year he locks in on. And
I think Caleb Johnson will get some play this year, and I think there will be some games that he starts and looks okay in. I don't know if that's due to injury or if he's just better. I think he's better than Gainwell. I do, but I think the team is so bought into Jalen Warren that he's just going to get his touches every single game no matter what. So with that, they have 4 tight ends on this roster. I don't know how that's going to help them much, but they'll figure it out. They always do. I got them 11-6, actually. I think they have a decent year. The only thing, I'm taking a shot because I could see this being like 2 more years of Tomlin being a 10-7, 11-6 team. But if the next 2 years they lose by 30 points in the first round of the playoffs, I think then the Steelers will call it quits and say, all right, we gave it a shot. A nice long 2-decade run of getting blown out in the first round of the playoffs. So
11-6 was not what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Shout out to him.
for sure.
It's not either.
I go back and forth. I'm probably going to take a heavy sip of this, maybe not a shot. The heavy sip being because, like Brandon said, Rodgers could just fall off a cliff. Max Kellerman famous statement, because it just does happen to QBs, happens to NBA superstars. And we've never seen anyone aside from Brady play at the position at this age. That being said, we saw Mike Tomlin get a winning season for probably 3 years with Ben Roethlisberger, who couldn't throw down the field with his checkdowns. He got a winning record with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. We had these same exact questions. We had this same exact conversation last year regarding Russell Wilson. Is he washed? Da-da-da. Rodgers looked okay. He looked good enough, especially towards the end of the season. You can't convince me that he can't do better than Russell Wilson. You can't convince me that he can't do better than Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. Tomlin can get 10 wins out of that. The defense, we agree, is a Super Bowl defense. The offensive line's good enough. The running game I have questions about, but we'll see. But Tomlin in general, he's a great coach. Why would it fall off now? And again, I want to reiterate, Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. If you can get 10 wins out of that, 9 wins out of that, you can damn well get it with even a washed Aaron Rodgers, especially if you got it with a washed Ben Rodgers.
10-7, you have him, assuming?
10-7, yes.
Brandon, what was your record?
I had him at 8-9. I think that other teams' offenses are just going to be too much.
See,
like
I got to say the same thing. That's got to be a sip if you're telling me it's only 1 win under.
So, I mean, it's still, to me, that's still like you're still breaking the streak.
True. No, you are, for sure. I guess that is kind of an either or shot or pass. I see where you're coming from.
Like, I could see them going 10-7. I could see them going 10-7, like if it all works out. But I don't like the composition of this offense. Like, I understand the Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, like, Russell Wilson argument, but I just don't like it. Like, I don't see how one wide receiver and 2 or 3 tight ends is going to work out. Like, I think it would be very easy. Like, all teams have to do is just double cover DK Metcalf and then, like, just play coverage underneath. Because Pat Freiermuth didn't get down the field. Maybe Jonnu Smith will. It's got a safety and a corner and a hook zone for that. And I think teams are going to load the box up on them because I personally wouldn't be worried about getting beat deep by Pittsburgh. So I have them at 8-9. I think their ceiling's 10-7. I would be surprised if they went 7-10. I think 7-10 is the absolute floor for them. I think there's a wide range of outcomes for this team.
Do you guys know Kenny Pickett's career high passing touchdowns in a season?
I'm going to say 18.
13?
12.
I'll preface this by saying the most games he's ever started was 13, if you want to change your
9.
answers.
And 9.
7. And the year before that, 13 games, 6. That team was 10 wins. So
yeah, I can't imagine unless Rodgers absolutely starts slow. I mean, we've just seen dog shit.
It won't be 7 with Aaron Rodgers. It won't be 10. It won't be 12. It'll be 16 at the lowest. So
yeah. Oh, if we're talking touchdowns, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers at least gets to 22, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say 20, 24 is probably what's going to happen. So
yeah,
like they're tough. They're a tough team to me. I don't know. Like
they're super tough to evaluate because they're either going to click all the way or it is probably going to go bad. But I can't even imagine even if the offense goes bad, I just think they're going to somehow scheme up something. I actually like Arthur Smith as an OC. How he blends with Rodgers.
Play some tough teams.
That they do. And I want to point out, I mean, I've said this multiple times, that coaching situation that Rodgers is coming from, going to Tomlin and Arthur Smith and whoever, is night and day. He was playing for goddamn I don't even know what you want to call
Nathaniel
Olbrich.
Hackett.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
do you feel
Hackett
they're
and
Super
Olbrich is
Bowl
about as
contenders,
terrible
Timmy
as-
and Brent and Kyle?
What happened?
Are they Super Bowl contenders? Do you feel like
Right now, I have them just as a playoff team, but the best version of this team is a Super Bowl team. They made moves like they're a Super Bowl team. I don't have them as a Super Bowl team, but playoff team that's going to be, you don't want to face them kind of thing. But a lot of it's going to be dependent on Rodgers. If he can rekindle 80% of his career, I mean, he's still got the arm. You don't have the legs anymore. But if he can do Aaron Rodgers things, hit open guys, move the chains, that's really all you need.
They're not a Super Bowl team. No, they're a playoff team. They haven't been a Super Bowl team in almost 10 years. So
no?
I do want to say one more thing.
I don't have
Sorry,
them as a
Keith, go
playoff
ahead.
team. No, I don't have them as a playoff team. I think that they could. I think they're going to be a completely tough team. Like I don't think they're going to be bad. I have them 7-10, but like I could see a world where they're 9-8, 10-7, competing with everything. I just think at some point they're probably going to be below 500, but shoot, never know.
Yeah.
Never know. I guess.
I'd prefer to see them go 8-9 versus them getting to the first round of the playoffs and getting beat like 42-3. And
Yeah,
that'd be like Rodgers'
in the
last
Bills
game.
in the Bills Invitational, where they just go to either Kansas City or Buffalo and get mopped.
Too
because
bad.
of
Yeah,
the
like
seven-
that's what's
and what
going to
would be
happen.
Rodgers' last game? Like, I would hate to see that for Rodgers' last game. Like, I hope it works out. I hope this experiment works out, but
I'm not gonna lie to you. As a Steelers fan, I kind of want to be 4 wins this year. Give me a reset. Just give me one reset year. Like I'm getting sick and tired of this. 8-9. No, sorry, 9-8, 10-7. We lose in the first round because we're not good enough. Give me a reset year. Let me go get like Drew Aller or something crazy, and let's go get this thing rocking. Like let's just go do. They'll never be
That's
the
what they
worst team
need.
in the league, but like, give me a 5-win season if I'm a Steelers fan. Honestly, even keep Mike Tomlin and just get a 5-win. Just every year trying to run it back with what veteran quarterback are we going to get this time to try to just implement to this same defense and try to get like a skill position guy. I mean, unless you're trying to go get Kyler Murray next year or something like that. Like it's.
I mean,
Kyler Murray could work out, actually.
No, that's the thing. Like they'd have to be a guy like that, a guy who's young enough but still has like who's good but still young enough. So it's really just like those type of guys, but like it's
Daniel
difficult
Jones.
to get.
When the Colts don't work out, they sign Danny Dimes, and they don't care.
Hey,
No, absolutely. Daniel Jones is going to be next there, and then in 2 years, it's going to be like, oh, let's bring Jameis in just to have fun with it for a year, and then
5 years from now, Jared Goff will be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
it's gonna be
my
it's just gonna be
God.
those consistent things. In 2 years, Sam Darnold will come into the league and be perfectly fine. They'll get the third contract. Bryce Young's gonna be like out and then come back and be, like it's just gonna be that just consistently, and there's gonna be enough until TJ Watt retires, and they're like, well, I guess now we can't do it.
couple closing
Golly.
statements. One, their schedule's very similar to last year, where it's division backloaded, where they, for whatever reason, got divisional games like loaded at the end of their
The
schedule.
back half of their schedule is super tough. The beginning of their schedule is not the toughest. They got the Giants and the Jets and the Seahawks.
Very similar to last year. And some of these games, like even if you have questions about Rodgers, like you can just win these games off coaching, especially early on. And I just want to reiterate, like Steelers coming out of December or going into December, whichever one, they were the 1 seed last year when an offseason where everyone was saying that Russ might just lose the quarterback competition to Justin Fields.
He balled out during that stretch.
And
He was really good during that stretch.
and I think Rodgers right now is better than Russ. So yeah, I understand
agree
they
with that.
slipped, but I mean, again, I can't reiterate enough. The Jets were bad not because of Aaron Rodgers. The Jets were bad because of JV level coaching. And I don't even mean that like JV to the NFL. I mean literal JV football coaching last year they had. So if Rodgers can give them anything, they should be at the least okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just need this team to be bad. I just want this like to reset something. But anyways, I mean I couldn't care less. The Steelers aren't gonna be in my championship bubble this year, so it doesn't make a difference to me.
Never know. Never know. We've seen weirder things.
Listen, there's a chance that Aaron Rodgers goes out there and looks like a resurgence of Aaron Rodgers, and DK Metcalf looks like Devontae
we had
Adams
people
2.0 or
we had
Jordy
people-
Nelson, and then it's like,
We had people
oh.
talking Sam Darnold's Super Bowl last year. We've seen far worse.
Oh, I know. And then they got to the playoffs, and
I'm seeing ghosts.
grab that mop.
Ghosts
The
are
Rams
back.
grabbed that
Ghosts are
mop
back.
for him real quick. Oh, the ghost. Anyways, Warner Brothas Podcast, Brandon, Kyle, and Timmy. We have gotten through all of our divisions. Shout out to all you guys, obviously, for this fun week. Awards and playoffs next. We get the fun stuff to talk about. But Warner Brothas Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Appreciate all of you guys, and we'll be seeing you guys again very soon.